guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gabby and today we are doing podcasts part 2. So in the last video we talked about things self-help, languages, real life shit, and today we are going to be talking about things business and motivation and spirituality. So I have a few podcasts to mention. For the first topic we'll be talking about is business and motivation. So the first podcast I would like to mention is the Rise podcast by Rachel Hollis. She is a best-selling author of 2 books, Girl Wash Your Face and Girls Stop Apologizing. So great books, great reviews. I have not personally read them, but I have been listening to her podcast nonstop. She is extremely inspirational. She has a podcast about the way she grew her business, tips and techniques you can use to grow your business, mistakes you can avoid, all the things you need to know. She's got you. She also holds a conference which has been put online. So if you would like to listen to her speak, she is an amazing speaker. Every time I listen to her podcasts, I feel inspired and just like I really got a push that I needed. She has a podcast episode I listened to recently, and it felt like she was literally telling me, Gabby, get it together because you got this and you're gonna succeed. And so I was like, but I will tell you, it felt like tough love. And I sometimes feel like we really need that when we are trying to aspire our goals. Right, so I think that she's a great listen. One of the most motivating stories I heard was of a man who crossed Antarctica. The only man who did it and survived, crossed the entire mass of Antarctica, which seems like the hardest thing ever, but he did it by himself. And just his story, it was truly inspiring. She brought him on, and the fact that he did it because he wanted to do it. He had a goal and he wanted to complete it. And if he can do that, we can do anything, honestly. The trials that he faced are not like the trials that we would face, near-death experience, right? Probably not. So I just really like the people that she brings on, the inspiring stories she tells, and she's a very fantastic storyteller. So I highly recommend checking her podcast out. The next podcast I would like to share is the Side Hustle Show. So the Side Hustle Show is hosted by Nick Loper. He brings on tons of different people who have their own side hustles and they explain how they got from 0 to 100 and all the steps that they are taking. So whether it's blogging, whether it's having a YouTube channel, whether it's honestly, there was one episode about how someone has a full-time business picking up dog business from people's yards. They have a full business and employees for this, and she makes money. It's insane. So it's not just blogging and influencing like a lot of times we hear. It's people that have created an actual side hustle and made it a business. And it's inspiring to listen to these stories because people have an idea and they make it a reality. And so listening to these stories I think is highly motivational for me to think like, okay, well, they can do it. Why can't I do it? So I think it's definitely a podcast you got to check out. The next podcast I would like to mention is The School of Ambition, and it is hosted by DL Sharon. She has a 9-to-5 job and has her own side hustle on the side, her own business. I think she's truly inspirational because she is just like you and I. She doesn't have 3 million followers on Instagram. It doesn't seem so far out of reach because she is so successful and she doesn't have 3 million subscribers. She doesn't have 3 million followers. So it's kind of like, wow, like here's somebody that looks like how I can look obviously with a lot of work, but I don't need 3 million subscribers to get there. I can be successful in what I want to do in my life. And here is a real life example. She gives you great tips on productivity, time hacks, because If you are like me, managing my time and managing my productivity can be a challenge, but she gives you great tips and advice to do this. And that's why I really like listening to her. She is another tough love kind of gal. She just tells you like it is. You know, if she talks to you, she's telling you, you have the time. It's about creating the time. Just do it. What are you waiting for? But she does give you ways that you can implement this in your life, and hopefully it will change your life. So I recommend checking her out. Another thing I want to note is that she does offer the ability to have one-on-one coaching with her. And I think that's a really great thing right now about people who don't have 3 million subscribers or followers, is that you are able to actually talk to them. She really likes to engage with her audience, and so if you message her and you have a question, she's gonna reach out back to you, and that's the great thing. These are the people who are using these methods now and are succeeding, and they're gonna talk to you. You're probably never gonna hear from somebody that has 3 million subscribers because they just get too many messages in the day. I recommend checking her out, and maybe if you need a business coach to get you started, she's your girl. The last business and motivation podcast I would like to share is the Kevin David Experience by Kevin David. So he's another success story because he went from normal 9-to-5 job. He decided, hey, like, I'm done with this. Like so many of us are done with it, right? And he decided to take the leap in working in the Amazon realm, right? So he had his own shop in Amazon, and he succeeded. And so now he has his podcast on interviewing people who have basically done the same thing. Maybe not with Amazon, but maybe with another type of job avenue, creating a website or creating some type of product, selling, marketing, sales. I don't know about you, but selling is terrifying, right? Like if you are not a born salesperson and just have that great charisma, it is a nightmare. I used to be a server. I hated selling mushrooms on steaks. Hated it because I just felt like I was just charging people for this nothing. Like who cares? Like $2 for mushrooms? Are you kidding me? So it has taken such a long process for me to just really take out my inner salesperson. And I think that listening to people sell their products and just listening to those stories over and over and over again will just make you feel like, okay, like sales makes the world go round. Like, let me say that again. Like, sales makes the world go round. Nothing happens without selling something, right? So we need to get comfortable with the fact that that's just what it is, you know? And there's nothing wrong with it. So we need to overcome that. And I really like listening to this podcast because just listening to these success stories and these people who really went from just normal lives to living their dream life. I love it. It is something I can constantly listen to because it is constant motivation that I need in my life to get where I want to go. So those are the few podcasts that I have on business and motivation. I hope you check them out because honestly, they will change your life. I promise. So the next category I would like to go into is spirituality. Now, I only have one podcast for spirituality because I generally like to read books when it comes to spirituality. I just feel like I can digest the information better because it is pretty complex sometimes. And it is Shamangelic Healing. The host's name is Anahata Ananda. Yes, I said that right. So she is a licensed healer and she talks about topics like core healing, personal empowerment, spiritual awakening, elite performance, and our favorite, manifestation. I found her through another podcast about healing your relationships with just people around you. Maybe it's your parents, or maybe it's your friends, maybe it's just your acquaintances. How can we heal these relationships or get rid of relationships that no longer serve us? And I really enjoyed her perspective on that topic. So I went and looked at her actual podcast and I'm in love. because I love chakras. As if you have seen my previous video on my books, I'm a fan of chakras, and she has a podcast about healing your chakras, which I really enjoy. I feel like spirituality and healing through spirituality is just another form of self-love and self-practice and self-healing, but through spirituality. You know, there are so many different modes of healing, whether it's believing in manifestation, whether it's believing in just positive attributes, whether it's believing in religion, or whether it's believing in just the universe, whatever it is. There are so many modes of self-love and self-healing that this is just another avenue of it. So if you are looking to just experience a different way of maybe engaging in yourself through a spiritual process, I highly recommend checking out this podcast. The last thing I would like to mention is not a podcast, but it does deal with money management, and it's a YouTube channel right here on YouTube. So it is Asia Dang. She has a channel completely about money management, how she went from $200,000 worth of debt to now debt-free in 2 years. Insane, incredible, amazing. And she gives you just all the things that she did, all the mistakes that she made, all the great things that she did. And one of them was starting with a budget. That is something that I think is super important when you want to be debt-free, when you just want to take control of your money. And I think that she is very real. I mentioned her podcast actually in my last video, Heavy Topics with Light Weights. She hosts it with her friend Laura Varney. And so I thought I would just give her a shout out about her actual YouTube. I really recommend it. It was because of her that I have a budget now. It's an actual spreadsheet of the amount of money she makes, all of her expenses. So you can literally see, I've never seen somebody do that before on YouTube. And so I think that just adds an extra element of real and rawness to her channel. So go ahead and check her out whenever you get the chance. Alright guys, well that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you could have gained something from it. Please go check out these podcasts. I promise they're worth it. Leave any comments down below, like and subscribe to my channel. I will be coming out with a new video starting every week next week. So take care of yourself during this heavy time, but try to look to anything positive in your life. Try to look at any of your blessings, any of the things that just make you happy, and really hold on to those right now. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.